she's played the system like a Stradivarius, and which is, I understand, is not uncommon for borderlines. She's very adept at playing ADS, social worker, her professionals, her psychiatrist, has only recently come to grips with the fact that she did sexually abuse her son. For the longest time, she just could not believe that she, number one, physically abused him, and number two, sexually abused him. Impossible. This woman could not have done this until the evidence was just
Overwhelming.
from CPS, et cetera, et cetera. So this is the mother. Well, you know better than I about borderlines. They can be very persuasive,
Very charming.
very charming, very manipulative. Right now, I'm the good guy. The social worker is the bad lady. But that's not always the case.
Turn on a dime.
On a dime, in a flash, in a flash. So.
Okay, so what is your goal at this point? What are you hoping for? You're hoping to stabilize? You're trying to prevent a relapse? You're trying to keep a community network around these folks?
No, my goal and my recommendation has always been for, now the father also is bipolar, borderline, in and out of Dominion on a voluntary basis. He knows when he's ready to have a relapse, and he commits himself. So my recommendation has always been termination of parental rights on both ends. And his going to live with his grandparents, who are very young. They're 50 years old and have a wonderful home, good income. I've observed them many times with this young man, been to their home. I mean, it's just sort of.
Okay, so you could document for the judge different behavior toward this young man from the grandparents versus from the parents. Okay.
Which I have done, and I understand at the Circuit Court of Appeal, that is what the Assistant Commonwealth Attorney has told me that I'm going to have to do.
Right.
Be sure that I'm able to
Done.
go.
In this situation, this is what happens.
Yeah.
In a similar situation,
Yeah.
this is what's happened.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
been told to be prepared to
Right.
get on the stand to
Right.
relate to that,
Okay, so basically your goal is to move this child
to adoption.
to adoption.
Yeah.
Okay,
That is also the county's goal.
okay. So you're all together on this.
The grandparents' goal. We've just got a no contact order issued 2 days ago.
Okay, okay. So would that format help you in any way? Or it sounds to me like you're beyond that at this point with this case.
Well, we really are. I think I just worry about it going from juvenile court to circuit court. You have a new judge who I hope will get the picture, because this woman can be extraordinarily charming. She can get very emotional. I love my son. I want him back, because you'll have about 100 days where she will now do I'm confident, will do every single thing she was supposed to have been doing for the past 14 months. So she will do all these things.
Okay, make sure that the things that she's supposed to be doing aren't things like being in programs and so forth, but are specific behaviors geared towards that child. When your son does such and such, this is what needs to be seen. When this child does such and such, this is what needs to be seen.
There's a no contact order.
There's no
She
contact.
can't
Okay.
see herself.
All right. We're going to have to, yeah. I'm sorry we didn't get to this group, but
Can I make one
yes.
comment
Yes,
about
please.
this? Because it's something that I've noticed when you talk about goals and objectives. Very, very often, what they say, and I hate to blame the social workers, but they say they have to go to a class. They have to be evaluated, psychologically evaluated. Well, anybody can get psychologically evaluated, and anybody can go to a class, but unless there's a behavioral change that comes out of all that.
Exactly.
The attendance is irrelevant.
Exactly. And what you would say, you know, when people say to me, well, if I'm going to a therapist, all right, how do I evaluate if this is the right therapist, all right? You ask them, all right, as a result of my being in treatment, all right, what do I look forward to changing in me? As a result of going to this class, all right, you ask, what change will occur? What change is expected to occur in this person? All right? Focus on behavior change. You will never go wrong, all right, if you can say it's something you can see, something I can see, and something the client can see. All right? Everything else, don't get confused by talking about a program or a group or individual or this type of therapy or that therapy. Get down to the nitty-gritty, all right? Here's the behavior that's needs to change. Is this an expectation that is reasonable to come from this treatment? Okay? All right. Nice to meet all of you. It's been a pleasure.